What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you a very nice passing play in Madden 19 that can really pick apart most coverages in the game, specifically one route on the play that can get you big consistent yardage, a route that is against a lot of coverages almost unguardable. So for today's video we are in the Seahawks playbook. I've done a few things out of the Seahawks playbook lately. It's still one of the better playbooks in the game for sure. It has some really good formations. One of the formations that's really good in this playbook is the gun empty bunch. Now this is also in some other playbooks. I'm just not sure off the top of my head. It's not exclusive to the Seahawks playbook, but it is, you know, a very, very unique formation. And the play we're going to look at out of it today is the play Y curl. Now, the route we're going to be looking to really take advantage of is the X route here. Tyler Lockett, he's kind of on this little bit of it's like a seam route. It kind of cuts to the inside and then runs down the seam. It's very, very good at beating most zone defenses in the game, and if you've played this game enough, you know most people like to run zone defense. Even if you play the computer likes to run a lot of zone defense. If you're that type of guy that plays more franchise and things like that, this is a zone defense beater. Also, if you have a fast guy with you know, some good route running here, can also be a good man beater as well. So the main way that I like to set this play up is I like to block RB, basically because, you know, without having a guy in the backfield, sometimes you just want a little bit better protection. And then I take the A tight end and put him on a streak. Now, the main two routes I look to hit on this is it's a good money play, but it's not like it's not the end all be all of plays, but it's a really good two-man route between X and the B receiver running underneath. Now, the Y receiver running the wheel down the sideline will also be utilized, just depending on what type of coverage the defense plays. So first, we're going to show like regular cover 3 coverage, and you're going to see just how open this X route gets in the seam. When it gets about right here, of course, we get hit with a block shed because practice mode, right? So practice mode, you're going to get block shedded immediately every time. Some things will never change, but we'll run it again, and you'll see. As soon as he gets in this seam, I mean, wide open, you know, we're striking into the end zone from about 30 yards deep. Another, I guess you could say, pro tip about this is when you block the running back, sometimes it's good to line shift to the right. Just because running backs typically aren't going to block as good as offensive linemen, so to give him a little bit extra help, you can slide to the right, which is LB or L1, and then right on the right stick. I think that's why he got block shedded really quickly the first time. But either way, that's going to help you, you know, block a little bit better. But again, you see down the seam, I mean, it is wide open. And cover 3 is, you know, one of the most popular defensive shells in the game, both, you know, from human opponents and even the computer. You're going to see a lot of cover 3. It's a very, very popular coverage. Now, you also have the B route running underneath. He's going to get you some really nice yardage as well. You see that we took this route underneath for about 12 yards there. Now, you can't defend them both, so the user kind of has to pick, and you know, if they run with the seam route, then you want to kind of check it down to the B route. If they stay with the B route, then you want to throw it down the seam. Now, if they were to play a cover 3 with an underneath shade, what this will do is it's going to make it harder to throw that B route. So they might do that and then try to manually guard the X route, right? Well, if they do that, you can still fit B underneath, okay? Now, right there, the defender made a good play on it. But this, we're going to talk about the wheel route in a minute, which is really good. But you can still find like a little bit of a window to fit the B route in, right? You can fit it in. It's not going to get crazy yards. You might get 3 to 4 yards, right? But that's not the real money on this. So if they give you a cover 3 underneath shade, what you want to then do is you could still hit the X route, but we're just going to assume that they manually guard the X route. Because the thing is, usually what's going to happen here is this is the guy right here with the underneath shade. This is the guy that's defending that curl. Typically, when they go user that route, they're going to user it with this guy. So let's man him up just to give you kind of a simulation of that. And again, this still isn't the big money. We're going to get to the wheel route in a minute here. But if they go guard that route, well, then this becomes wide open now. And that's how you have to really think about these type of plays. Yes, they could shade underneath, so if we let that drag route run all the way to the other side of the field, then yes, the hard flat here by the free safety, he'll clamp down on it. But if they take this guy to go manually guard the seam route, well, then this whole middle area of the field right here opens up for our B receiver. So even if they shade underneath, typically one of those two routes is still going to be open, and that's how you have to look at it. But if they shade underneath, what you can also do for big yards is you can hit the Y receiver on the sideline, because since they're shading underneath, there's nothing that's going to guard that route there. So that's the real big money if they shade underneath, because you can see as Doug Baldwin cuts here, you know, this guy, though, this outside cornerback, though he can't defend this right here because he's never going to get far enough inside, he still has to kind of stay to the middle and protect it, which keeps him away from the sideline. And because we shaded down and we have the free safety here, Eddie Jackson, clamping down to the flat, Baldwin's going to run past him, and then you can just pass lead this to the sideline, possession catch it, and get a huge gain. So, you know, let's just say, you know, they cover 3, they shade down, instead of using this guy, maybe they use the deep safety, right? And they use the X route down the seam there. You still have Doug Baldwin on the sideline. So that's what's really good about the play, is that no matter what, you're going to always have something. It's just up to you to kind of make the read and see what they're doing, and you're going to get really good gains out of this no matter what they do out of a cover 3. Now, let's go to cover 2, the next most popular coverage that you're typically going to see. We run the same setup, and again, you're going to have this X receiver down the seam. I mean, you're talking again, you're going to probably score. He got lit up there, got to the 2, but there's a lot of, you know, situations with this cover 2 right here where you're going to score because that whole middle is just opening up for you. I mean, this is just a cover 2 killer right here down this seam. You see, we're scoring a touchdown from 30 yards out. So that's another thing that I really like about this play, is against cover 3 and cover 2, the 2 most popular coverage shells in the game, you can still strike from this distance, which is really good because, you know, the closer you get to the end zone in Madden, the harder it is to score. So with a play like this, you can pull it out around this area of the field and know that if it's your first time pulling out this play and they're not expecting that seam route, you can strike right here and score your touchdown. Now again, of course, you still have the B route coming underneath. Huge yardage. Again, we're getting 10, 11, 12 yards on this little underneath drag route because, as we're going to go to the replay here, you have so many routes going deep on this play on this side of the field. You have both of these routes going deep. That stresses the defense. They have to respect it. Now, yes, even though, again, Tyler Lockett's open here, let's just say they usered it, or let's just say you wanted to check it down. You're not in a hurry. You're trying to milk clock, whatever. You can check it down. Those zones have to at least go deep enough to respect those deep routes. And what that does is just leave the underneath wide open for us. And then again, if they were to shade their coverage underneath, which you don't typically see in cover 2 as much as you see in like a cover 3, but again, if they do that, you still have X open, but then now you also have Y open on the sideline, same way. So if they shade down and they try to use the middle themselves, well, you still have that on the sideline. So no matter what, you have tons of options on these plays, but like I said, you're really looking at 3 routes. You're looking at the seam, you're looking at the B receiver, and then you're looking at the Y receiver down the sideline. Now let's go man. Now, this is a much better zone, play than it is a man play, in my opinion, but if someone were to pull out man, you could still attack with this. Now, Tyler Lockett a lot of times is still going to get, separation, but this is the first route you want to look to if you read man. Obviously, you want to read the underneath route, because these types of crossing or drag routes, you have good speed there. And you can see here on this particular route, this is different from a regular drag route. It goes a little deeper, but you'll notice he gets like a speed boost. You see how like when he cuts, he gets this little speed boost, and that is going to allow him to pretty much beat any player on the field. And you see how much separation he had there, and we turned that upfield for about 15 yards. But also you can see down the field that when Tyler Lockett, he kind of got caught here a little bit, but once he made his cut up the field, I mean, he's got a Mukamara burn. We can pass lead this inside, and that's another touchdown. And then right here, Baldwin has his man beat. This is a little bit riskier of a throw. You can lead this to the sideline if he has some separation, but typically against man, I kind of stay away from that route just because there is potential for maybe this cornerback to get a good animation and pick it, or this safety to come over and make a play. But right here, Lockett and the underneath drag here to Moore are going to be your main options versus man. So we'll run man one more time here. I think I audibled into the wrong coverage, so 1 second. Alright, so again, same setup. I'm going to block the RB streak A. I'm going to try to hit Lockett this time here. You can see as he beats his man down the seam, and again, we're striking from this distance. So you can see against man, against cover 2, cover 3, you can strike for a one-play touchdown from about 35 to 25 yards out. That's a really good thing to do. So this is the type of play that you know, you might want to keep in your back pocket a little bit. First time you get to this area of the field, you pull this play out, and that can help you get a score, because as I said, the closer you get to the end zone, the harder it is to score in this game. So pull something out like this out for the first time around this area of the field, kind of catch them with a big play. But you always have your underneath, and you always have your wheel route down the sideline if they shade their coverage down. So all in all, this is really good against the most popular type of coverages in the game. The one coverage I will say does a decent job against this will be a cover 4, because with the 4 deep zone, you don't really have that ability to throw the X route down the seam as easy. You still have the underneath route, but if they do hit you with a cover 4, the B receiver will still be open. But if they were to manually take that away, then it becomes a little bit harder. So I will say, yes, a cover 4 is going to do a decent job against this, but all the other popular coverages, you can really shred them with basically just looking at 2 to 3 routes. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, as always, just drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.